season long. Catch the action live with game day features like Stats View and more from the best seat in the house. YouTube TV. Try it free. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
Number 43, Chamber 37. Yeah, well, it's actually kind of hard to refer to these chambers at all because they don't really have specific numbers tied to them. I think there are like 3 test chamber ones, so the number I gave them are really just the order in which they occur in the game. But the numbers don't really matter much. It's the places we're here for. And this one is pretty or should I say pretty pit. All of these bottom pick chambers are down here because in one way or another they pose an immediate threat to us. This chamber has a not so bottomless pit that would not be fun to fall down. Though this is kind of a weird death system in the main game considering Shell has the long fall boots and should be fine falling down there. We even see this exact scenario take place when Wheatley takes over the facility. But that is besides the point. The actual point is that you will die if you fall down there. Plus, there's really more down than up in this chamber anyway. There's hardly any floor space, and the entry is far below the main space and the exit. Plus, the careful work that would be needed to get up and down from this one is nowhere near worth the risk, so this was an easy pick for the bottom. Number 42, Chamber 15. This is hardly an improvement, and it's solely due to the space by the exit and the fact that we have water instead of the pits, which I consider to be more safe because in theory you can get out of it. But back to that exit area, it's going to take a little bit of bridging to get over to, which is something I only recommend doing over the water. Even though it isn't really that much space, it's still more space and way safer than the last place. Number 41, Chamber 8. There is a touch more space overall, but it's not by much. And it's broken up into these areas, the middle of which is pretty small. But I do give it the higher spot, mostly due to the fact that the whole place is on the same Y level, and I think there would be many less accidents that way. Number 40, Chamber 7. Again, just a bit more space with the starting area, the cube area, and the exit space. Plus, they're on the same Y level again, so that is nice. And with a lot of these bottom picks, usually the only thing that gets them higher than the other is just having a bit more space overall, so get ready for that to be the reasons for a while. Number 39, Chamber 40. Would you believe me if I told you that this one had more space? Though admittedly most of the usable space from this one comes from the entrance, and the rest of the space is a bit too risky for me to recommend, but risky enough for me to confidently talk about. There are these 2 freestanding platforms that I wouldn't try to get to, but here they are. And then there's an area by the exit way up there that would be a total pain to get to, but don't let me tell you what to do. Number 38, Chamber 45. There are 2 massive pits for you to fall into in here, one to your right and one directly in front of you, though it is already leagues better than the last simply due to the fact that there is just much more space to actually put stuff down. There is obviously this main area when you first walk in, which is a fine amount of space, and then a bit more space on the right behind this glass wall that I suggest we keep up for that extra bit of division between you and a bottomless pit. But this isn't all the space. Eagle-eyed nieces, nephews, everything in between and or otherwises might have spied that little bit of leg land far across the pit. And hey, if you buy the place, then it's yours. But it's also your funeral if you try to get across to there, so choose wisely. Number 37, Chamber 43. This one again is going higher because it is just a touch more safe. Just one big pit to worry about here. Easy.
But Uncle Lloyd, what about the lasers?
I can hear you thinking. Well, same as the last video. One that you should definitely watch if you haven't seen it yet. In this scenario, we would have control over certain devices within the chambers. For instance, these lasers. So we'll switch them off for you and then give you the remote, and you can choose if you want to use them again for whatever reason. Number 36, Chamber 14. We are back to the water again. And now that I'm really looking at it, I must admit it looks much better in this game. Even has a reflection. Not much to this one yet again, just a little bit more room with that extra space by the exit. I also like that it's pretty closed in at the beginning. Keeps it a little bit safer from that deadly water. Number 35, Chamber 9. There is significantly more space in this one, and I'm not just talking how big the room is. We actually have a lot more space that we can walk around in and put furniture down. And this is one of the first test chambers to come with an Aperture Science aerial faceplate, which I advise you turn off and stay far away from. You lay a single toe on that thing and you'll be launched straight into the air. And I'm doubtful that you'll be as graceful as our girl Shell here, so it'll be right into the water for you. Number 34, Chamber 39. Yep, you guessed it, more space. It's a pretty alright place, but the best part about it is that we get a glass-walled nook. People did not like how loud I got about the nooks in the last video, so I thought I'd dial it back this time. You are welcome, nerds. Not a whole lot to this place other than this extra space across the gap, which I honestly would risk setting up a bridge to. It's a pretty short distance. Number 33, Chamber 31. Here we have our first testing sphere chamber, and there ain't much to it. Really, it's just kind of a square room that's missing a wall that you should obviously stay away from. And again, I suggest trying not to get to that further part, not really because it's so dangerous, but just that there isn't really anything over there for you to get to. This area is kind of just a big pillar, not much to it.
We are living in Lyndon Johnson's America. That's what a staffer of the 36th president once said. It's still true today. Consider America's out-of-control federal debt. We'd like to reduce it, but we can't, because doing so means taking down institutions that seem as permanent as the Rockies: Medicare, Medicaid, and many other entitlements. All these institutions were established by Lyndon Johnson. The slogan of John F. Kennedy, Johnson's predecessor, was "A New Frontier." By this, Kennedy meant more opportunity to enable Americans to thrive, not massive federal programs that would bankrupt our grandchildren. Kennedy advocated significant tax cuts. Even Kennedy's signature project emphasized symbolism: get a man on the moon to show the Soviet Union and American citizens what America can do for itself. But an assassin's bullet felled Kennedy in 1963, and now it was Johnson's turn. Johnson didn't have to set anew details later. What mattered most to Johnson were the noble intentions of these programs. But those intentions didn't lead to Great Society heaven. Riots in American cities did not stop after Johnson passed his civil rights and entitlement laws. Riots increased. Life in public housing projects got worse. The Great Society institutionalized incentives for young women to have children out of wedlock. Still, these benefits came to look like mountain rocks, hard to cut. Johnson's successor, Richard Nixon, a Republican, increased spending on Great Society projects faster than Johnson. Down the decades, we have spent billions and then trillions. Yet today we can see that the results of the Great Society were anything but great. Crime and high taxes plagued the cities. Poverty refused to be cured. Entitlements didn't free families. Entitlements shackled families to poverty. Student scores on standardized tests dropped after 1965. Even today, the most progressive politician would agree that public school systems in major cities are failing. Medicare certainly feels kind to senior citizens, but it places a burden of debt on our grandchildren that is anything but kind. People think of Franklin Roosevelt as the father of our nation's social programs. But today, we spend more on Great Society programs than on those of the New Deal. These facts may surprise many Americans. We hear all the time that the Great Society was a great success. Perhaps that's because romanticizing government intervention is a rule in public radio and TV. Both institutions made possible through a 1967 law signed by Johnson. Today might be the moment to clear our heads, and the moment to take the Great Society record seriously. After all, these edifices are not the Rockies. Medicaid, Medicare, and our social programs can be changed. Our debt can be reduced. Yes, we are living in Lyndon Johnson's America, but that doesn't mean we have to. I'm Amity Schlaze, author of Great Society, A New History for Prager University.
Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
to it. Number 32, Chamber 30. Hey, back-to-back testing spheres, how about that? And yet again, they are pretty similar. Another square room guy, but this square room is just a little bit larger and a bit safer to boot, with having all of its walls, only missing a little bit of the fourth one by the water pit. It also has a little bit of elevation to it with this thing in the corner, probably where I'd put my bed, like a watchtower. Number 31, Chamber 44. With this chamber, we step right into a time machine and see what the last chamber would look like in the future. It genuinely is kind of just a polished version of the last chamber, but even safer, with having only this small access to a pit. But that'll be real easy to avoid though. What really sets this one apart is that when you break this glass, you get another fucking nook. How do you like that one, nerds? Leave a beautiful comment rating my beautiful singing ability. Number 30, Chamber 32. This one was honestly so hard to rank. You obviously get a ton of space in here, and plenty of handrails to boot, though this whole place is suspended over a lake of shit water, making the parts of this place without handrails all the more dangerous. I was really torn on the placement of this one, but thankfully it did some of the work for me by having that aforementioned shit water. So I knew it had to go at least this low. Regardless, do let me know what you guys think. And one last thing, don't even think about trying to get to the exit in this place. Number 29, Chamber 2. Old Number 2, how green you are. If the shit water were gone, this place would have been much higher. I got a comment about this recently, someone saying something along the lines of, even though some places have dangers in them, they are still nicer than some places that are completely safe, and that I was kind of skewed in my ranking of those places, and that maybe some places with danger should go higher. You would just need to be a little bit more careful, and they are ultimately better places than some of the fully safe places. But my response to that is, I really do view safety as the #1 priority, full stop, with any of these places that I go over. So even though a lot of places would be pretty great, like Chamber 2, if they didn't have the water, or if we just had to be a little bit more careful about them, I still think they should go lower, because I don't know if any of you guys live in like a dangerous house, but you know, I don't want to have to worry about tripping and falling into like a vat of acid while trying to get like milk for my cereal in the morning. And so I think that even if a place is kind of boring or not as interesting, if it's safe, it should go automatically higher than something that isn't inherently safe, if that makes sense. But even with this place being a little unsafe, it's still pretty nice. There is plenty of space in this main area, far away from the water, so it's not a big issue. And they even added handrails for us around the corner. How thoughtful. And there's also some unique panel stairs that I really like in this game. They even have this button that raises part of the floor over the water. I think it would be nice to keep that raised for safety. Plus, we could also use those panel stairs as retractable tables if needed.
For 4.5 billion years, Earth has never once stopped recycling. A seed breaks through the soil, leaves unfurl, flowers blossom. The tree bears fruit for all. In time, its leaves and fruit wither and fall, returning to the soil to nourish new life. At every stage, nature cares for what follows. The way Earth uses its own resources, nothing goes to waste. Imagine if the energy we use followed Earth's way. If, instead of ending as waste, the materials that power our lives were drawn back to power the next chapter. How different would our tomorrow be? Hanwha is delivering the change our time calls for. Here, end-of-life solar panels begin their next life. By turning yesterday's materials into tomorrow's energy, we move the energy transition forward. Sustainable solutions for Earth, for life. Hanwha.
We all move through life in our own way, but we all appreciate the moments that feel effortless. No matter the journey, the Velatric Discover 3 is built to discover more in every ride. For days that are meant for open roads and quiet spaces, the power of a smooth, comfortable ride that lets you go farther than you planned, while allowing you to enjoy every mile of the journey. And knowing that it's ready for whatever the adventure holds. For some, it's the freedom to wander without a worry. To follow whatever catches your eye. Knowing the ride will keep up with every turn, stop, and stroke of inspiration. And sometimes for making it to places that once felt out of reach. And getting there is shaped by the way you ride. Sharing in the comfort of experiencing life together. Finally made possible by a ride that supports you capturing more every day. Whatever your path looks like, your ride should move with you. Comfort you feel, power you trust. The Velatric Discover 3, effortless ride, elevated power.
Needed. Number 28, Chamber 38. This one is quite nice and clean. Not much fixer-upping needed in here. The worst part about this place is the pit. Whoops. But the true worst part is just how plain this place is. It's just a really big room, and that's all I've really got to say on it. Number 27, Chamber 21. Tons of space in here, so much room for activities, no bunk beds needed. It even comes with one of our favorites, a possibly too large nook. Opposite to that nook corner is an elevated platform that I have as another watchtower bedroom. This place gives you a ton of floor space, but you just need to watch out for the water along the sides and in the back. Only other thing of interest in here is the area on the back wall, which wouldn't be too hard to get to, but hey, that's your call. And of course we'll be turning off the light bridges and lasers for you. Number 26, Chamber 27. I hope you're excited because this is the last of the danger chambers. Now originally this came up much lower because I foolishly was only going to count this bottom part and pretty much disregard the actual test chamber because you would need such a long ladder to even get up there. But I decided not to be such a buzzkill and do what the actual premise is and talk about the test chamber. And it's a pretty damn good one all things considered. There is more than plenty of space down here, and I particularly like this bend in the walls giving us access to more space on the bottom. And yes, I did say bottom because this place has multiple stories. In this corner here we have another area that, yet again, I think would make for a nice little bedroom. But just be careful about using the bathroom in the middle of the night. A little higher than that is an area that I suggest you stay away from because one slip up and you're in the water pit. Maybe you could use this place just for storage. The real elevation comes into play up here and is where you should actually put your bed if you want some more privacy. I really like this area up here and how it overlooks the whole room. And if you really wanted, you could hang some curtains up for extra privacy. Plus, this area by the Fizzler would make for a great doorway to this place, right above what could be a decent office or something. Speaking of offices, now that we're done with the danger chambers, we can get into a section that at least one person was looking forward to in the last video, that of course being the activity centers. If you only started watching this series from the Portal video, then let me fill you in. Whenever I come across a level that could work as a home, but in some way would just be a little awkward for it, whether it be that it's just too wide open or maybe they have obvious features that wouldn't really work in a home, I put them into their own category of activity centers. Places that people can go to have fun, do some learning, or just hang out. I didn't think any of the Portal 1 chambers really fit the bill, but in this game I've got 5 of them. And same as always, these places don't have to be what I say they are, these are just what they remind me of. Also subscribe. Not related, it would just be nice. This video is coming out on Valentine's Day after all. Number 25, Chamber 17. First up for the activity centers is one that I think would work great. Even alcoves along the walls for the bench warmers to sit, and spaces higher up that would make for shitty stands to watch the game. Only issue is that this area in the middle right here could become a tripping hazard, so I'd pull more of those panels up to prevent that. But be careful in the meantime. Number 22, Chamber 33. Okay, this is going to be a really weird pitch, so I'm going to ask you guys to hear me out on this one. This is, as far as I can tell, the biggest and most wide open test chamber in the game. I mean, just look at